This video is made for adult collectors because Highbrow is a very, very old man. Ooh, the air conditioning just kicked in, finally. Battle masks are cool on Transformers. I love it when a toy can like flip down a battle mask, but like, why does he look creepy? Why does he look like the creature from the Black Lagoon? I don't like that. It scares me. I'm gonna have nightmares now. Thanks. Transformers is full of interesting vehicles, some made up and some real, and both can be very cool. And this figure becomes this. That's a goofy flying machine. Highbrow is one Highbrow is one of those figures that was plentiful back in the day, like to the point where you could get him at discount stores. I was seeing him at discount stores everywhere, to now being really expensive on the aftermarket, kind of like Lugnut, but not as bad as Lugnut. Apparently Lugnut was showing up in great quantities at Ollie's, and now he's worth $200 to $300. This is Highbrow from blah 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 blah. That's how you say that word. This is Highbrow from Hunt for the Decepticons, and he is a weird toy. And my mouth is weird for not working. Weird in a good way, but weird nonetheless. He looks cool. I like the powder blue that shows up on the limbs and the torso, and there's a lot of big chunky mechanical detail on display because this is like an old-timey Baver style thing. Why is Microsoft telling me about Avowed Premium Edition again? I'm not buying it. The biggest thing this figure had that was weird to like, it's actually quote unquote wrong, was the placement of the hands. They are offset and they look weird. It's because of how they fold away in alt mode, but they have always looked funky to me. Fortunately, you can just like fold them away and fold up the propellers to give them that sort of incinerator look, or you can cover it with the guns and that kind of also helps. I do really like how the toy uses the alt mode parts to form bits of the details, or even the limbs, like the wings becoming the feet and the nose becoming the shoulder pads. Head sculpt is, well, it's creepy. It makes me think of a weird frog. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but he does have a battle mask that's just aviation goggles, and yep, still creepy. This figure does have some small cracking issues. I've had two of them, and the hip skirts on both copies have cracked slightly at the hinge. It's not the best, but it's like only starting to split if you go further than where it's supposed to go, but there is no like natural stopping point, so you think the hip skirt's supposed to fold down more and you end up cracking it. I dig the landing gear across the chest looking like belts on a jacket or straps or something. I don't really know that much about old-timey aviation gear that you have to wear, but it kind of looks like that. The back is pretty clean for the most part. The back of the jet kind of splits to become these cool fin wing things out the back, but none of this pegs in, so it kind of just flops around all over the place. Plastic feels solid other than that hip skirt. Nothing else feels like it's going to break. It's nice and chunky. His articulation is odd though. It's old, but even for that time, it's a bit weird. So basically his articulation is very 2010. It comes from a time when articulation wasn't the standard thing that everyone was focusing on when designing these toys, because they wanted to, you know, have little gimmicks and things in there as well. So he's not going to be as articulated as this figure, which is, you know, this year. But he still has a lot of the stuff that this figure does have, which is kind of nice to see, but it works weird. So the head can do a full 360. It's just on a swivel. That's it. The shoulders, they can rotate a full 360. The shoulder pads can move out of the way, and you can have the arm go out that far. You do have a bicep rotation, which is really weird because it, like, on my copy, it just sort of stops there on this side, but on this side, it goes all the way around. It's very strange. It's just, I think this is just a little too thick on the inside. You have a little over 90 degrees of bend at the elbow, and then the wrists can hinge in and out, but you can also fold this out if you just want propeller arms. So that's usually how I display mine, because I kind of find this looks a bit weird. But he has no waist joint because the crotch does this for the transformation. But the hips, you notice here that this panel is cutting into the thigh, so you have to move this out of the way before you start moving the hips around, because then it just becomes like weird and awkward, and then they don't go out at all. So like, I don't understand that. But that goes forward that far. The leg cannot go back. Like, it just stops. There's no way for the leg to go back, and I find that very strange. They can ratchet out to do almost a full splits. However, the ratchets are stronger than this peg, so you're like, oh, I want to move the there it goes. And now he looks like that. He fell over. But you do have thigh rotation. You have just a little under 90 degrees of bend at the knee because of this piece of kibble. But then he has ankle tilts, which, I mean, this is due to transformation, but he has ankle tilt, which is very nice to see. And then a toe joint, if you want to use that. Both of these can rotate up. So he's very articulated, minus the waist, like lack of a waist swivel, and then the weirdness of the arms, which are unshifting. They don't peg in right here, so you just kind of have to like fold them down and then hope that they stay. And then the backpack, as you can see, it started moving around a lot. This doesn't peg into anything. Little annoying. I kind of wish it did peg into like the sides or something, but because there are pegs here on either side of this little piece to plug it into alt mode, but nothing for the robot. Also, just a word of advisement. All of the baby blue except for the chest is painted, and I don't know how well you're going to see this, but it started chipping right there and a little bit here. So yeah, and it's also chipping a little bit up here as well. So like you have to be careful with this because that is all paint. And it's not exactly the strongest paint, it's that chalky style paint, so pain. So the robot to me is a bit of a mixed bag. It looks neat, but it's also awkward at the same time. But the reason I got this was, well, I needed it for the Hunt for the Decepticons shelf, but also because of the alt mode. So the transformation is extremely unique. Because the alt mode, I mean, this whole figure is very unique. So what we're going to do first is take the guns off without dropping him. Take them off, put them off to the side. Then what we're going to do is fold the hands up and then fold the arms out. And then we're going to take the backpack, bring this down, shift this back until it clips together and just leave it back here for now. Then we are going to take the arms and sort of raise them up like this and then close them over the head. And the nose cone will peg together, ow, on either side. Don't hurt yourself. Then you split this section apart. And it's going to slide into here and sort of clip into underneath where the shoulder armature was. So that all pegs together very like that. Then you bring this down. Then we're going to take this panel and shift it up. And it's going to clip over that piece. And we just do this on both sides, ow. Get this section flipped out and around. Then you want to take this leg piece here, bring this down. You want to fold this up, then rotate this all the way. Fold that down, fold this section up, and bring that up. And that is 1/2 of the tail fin. So again, bring that down, fold the tail up, bring this up, peg this together, bring this out. Then you have landing gear here, here, and here. And inside the landing gear sections, it has been paint chipping quite a bit, which is annoying. But then you take these guns and you peg them into the wings on either side, either side. And then finally, we're going to splay out the propellers. And there you have the weird flying machine, plane, helicopter thing. These are really loud. They're very loud. But it looks neat. There's also like a molded in cockpit and everything, but this doesn't open. But it's a very easy transformation to do. It's just really fun and kind of unique, and it has its own carrying handle. That's a cool looking flying thing. The way I don't know exactly what this is, but I know it's based off something that actually existed. The way the cockpit is hanging out in the middle and the two propellers, I love the way the tail is done, where like the feet unravel and flatten out into this section. You wouldn't be able to tell those are feet. And I love the color change. It goes from being like a mostly gray baby blue robot to being a mostly dark gray military vehicle, and that's awesome. Triple changers are really good at doing that too. I like the P10 on the side. I don't know if that's a reference to anything. And the patterns on the back of the wings are neat. I also don't know if that's a reference to anything. And the miniguns sit right at home on the side of the plane. Like that just fits. The propellers, as you saw earlier, can also spin when pressing the engines. And as you also saw earlier, they make a lot of noise. Yeah, so as I alluded to earlier, these make a lot of noise. But unlike Incinerator, they both work. Because it's a simple gear and spring and not an entire cable. It's annoying as hell, though. I should probably go annoy my parents with this. That'd be funny. It's a very wild alt mode, and I love the more experimental alt mode phase they had during this time. This figure as a whole, though, is alright. The alt mode is the best part, but the robot is just awkward enough where it's weird to mess with. And I definitely don't recommend it at those eBay prices. Good lord. I thought paying $50 for this a couple years back was a lot. Seeing it on eBay for like 90 to 120 Canadian dollars is just wild. But that's been my look at Hunt for the Decepticons Highbrow. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.